Good evening. It's Monday night and it's time for a nervous chat. And boy, have I got a show for you tonight. Tonight's guest is a resident of the United States of America. He is based in New York City and also spends a lot of time in New Jersey. Has done most of my bucket list coasters. And I'm really, really excited to get his opinion, not only about American theme parks, but also what he thinks of our theme parks in comparison. So without further ado, let me welcome Jamair from Intense Thrills.
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Jamair.
What's going on?
How you doing?
Doing good.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
I appreciate with the time difference, it's a little bit difficult to juggle, but it is really appreciated.
No problem.
Obviously, I've known you for a little while. You've been very supportive of my channel and my account, which is absolutely, amazing and so appreciated. So thank you very much for that, first of all. And you're also a great supporter of a lot of other channels I know, which is absolutely brilliant. So thank you from all of us for that support, because it's really appreciated.
No problem. I try to do the best I can to support everybody.
No, and it really is appreciated. As I said, it's well talked about that Jamair is a great supporter and helps and supports. So that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Straight in, I've got somebody wants to know the time difference between us. So it's 8 p.m. here, meaning it's 3 p.m. Are you in New York at the moment, or are you in New Jersey?
New Jersey.
You're in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's 3 p.m. in New Jersey. So first of all, how did your love of roller coasters start?
Oh man, I haven't had this question asked in a while. So I was in middle school and I was really heavy in playing basketball, and I was just always like really into playing basketball. So I played point guard, and there was like, I was in my JV year. I just started playing basketball in middle school. So 6th, 7th grade, you play JV, and then 8th grade, you play varsity. So I was in my JV year, and there was one game that it got really intense. Like the score was really close. It got really intense. And actually I got injured that game. And it was so sad because I think a week or two before that, we were going to go to Great Adventure, and it was going to be my first time riding El Toro. So I was just so bummed. And then we went to go to the hospital and all of that. And then we just went to the park so much that year that I was just so bummed, because I would just look at El Toro and be like, I really wish I could ride this. Like it looks really good. So my mom was like, you can't ride it. You're hurt. You gotta wait. So another year go past, and then I still have to wait. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. Still gotta wait. Finally, 8th grade came, and I'm in my 8th grade year, and I got good news in like the beginning of the year, and my doctor was like, you have like, just stay in the cast for like 3 months, and you will be good to go. So I was hyped, I was happy, everything. So 3 months go past, and it's actually summertime now. And I finally got to ride El Toro, and I was just like, this thing is actually like a beast. I rode El Toro back row first time, and I was like, this thing is actually a beast. Like, why is this actually this good? So the whole day, I actually stayed at El Toro the whole day. Like, the park was open for like I think 11 hours, 10 hours, and I stayed at El Toro from start to finish. Did not ride anything else. I just stayed at El Toro. And I was like, okay, this like, why? So I went home and I'm like, I actually want to go back again to ride El Toro. So basically, you can say El Toro started everything for me, like liking roller coasters. It actually made me want to start an account, and that's actually what I did. I went home and I was going through like Instagram and stuff, and I saw all these enthusiasts doing pictures, photography, videography, and I was like, I actually want to do this. And I was like, I'm just gonna go straight to the park again and just get photos of El Toro and everything. So you could say El Toro started my account, started with me liking roller coasters and everything.
See, now that explains. I was going to ask you, where did the love affair with El Toro come from?
Yeah.
And now I understand exactly where that love affair comes from, because you do speak a lot about El Toro in your sort of videos, and obviously there's quite a lot of photographs of El Toro, and I was sort of he obviously has a real love for this roller coaster, but why? And now I understand.
So
it's where it all started for you.
Yeah. And people don't understand, like, it's like, if a coaster really starts everything for you, you're gonna like that coaster from the start to the finish. Once it starts and once it finishes, once it have its last year, you're gonna like it from start to finish and even more. So that's what really like makes me like El Toro, and obviously the ride experience. That thing is definitely like one of the best wooden coasters you can have at your park. And like, I definitely have, like, I would say this like 1,000 times. Everybody should definitely experience El Toro at least one time, at least one or twice. And once you do, everybody just likes El Toro. Well, not everybody, but most people like El Toro after the like first or second ride. And it's just like, it's just a ride that you just can't go past. Like, once you see El Toro, you're gonna like want to like get on it. And I guess I just built that love for just marathoning it so much. Everybody would see my story and be like, dude, how do you ride El Toro this much? And it's just like, it's just a great ride. And it's just an airtime filled ride with airtime that I actually like, ejected airtime, sustained ejected airtime. And it's just filled with it all throughout the ride. And it's just something that I like.
I must admit, until I obviously interacted with yourself, I had very little knowledge of American coasters or parks. And it's probably because of you that El Toro is on my bucket list, because I sort of looked at it and went, well, if somebody who is Native American, lives in the USA, has all these parks and all these roller coasters at their disposal, and absolutely loves this roller coaster, then there must be something absolutely amazing about this roller coaster. So I've got to have it on my bucket list, because if somebody who has the opportunity to, let's say, ride all these different roller coasters loves this particular roller coaster, then it's sold. I'm not a massive fan of airtime, but I do like airtime. So but I'm just looking at it, it's beautiful to look at even.
Yeah.
As are so many coasters in America, and this is another thing that that I find absolutely fascinating about your coasters and your parks, is they all look so beautiful. Whereas in the UK, you look at a lot of our roller coasters and they look older, they look a bit tired, they look not as well kept, or as well. I mean, obviously, theming in America is massive. One thing I did notice from your top 10 that I was watching earlier today is that you do place a lot of emphasis on theming. Is that a massive thing for you? I mean, obviously, let's say the video implied that it was quite a big thing, but I mean, is it a deal clencher for you?
I'll say theming is not a lot, but I'll say what really like got me into like theme. I'm not really like into theming and like put coasters in like my top 10 from like theming wise. So I'll say like what really got me into theming is Velocicoaster. When you look at Velocicoaster and go through its queue, you're like, what am I actually going through? Like, it really like makes you feel like you're in paradise. It's like everything you see there makes you feel like you're in a movie, and it's just insane. But mostly my top 10 comes from like ride experience and how much like I enjoy it and how much I can like ride them, like marathon them.
Yeah, see, for me, I'm not as big a fan of theming. I like a ride. Um, Theming does make it more attractive to want to go and do it, but it's not the end of the world for me. But I suppose being a UK enthusiast, you can't be as discerning about theming because we're not very good at theming in the UK. Some coasters are beautifully themed, and Wicker Man, as you may well have
Yeah.
seen, um, our newest Woody that was only opened in 2018, is beautifully themed, and I'm
Oh,
sure everyone will agree about that. But a lot of our other coasters just aren't very well themed, and I've got friends who think that theming is very important. James Coaster Chicken, for example, he's
yeah.
very much a person about theming, and he will make decisions about a roller coaster based around its theming, as well as obviously the ride experience. But yeah, we just not very good at it. Whereas your parks generally seem to be so well themed, um, that it sort of implies that theming is massively important to American enthusiasts. But obviously now I'm hearing from yourself that maybe that's not the case.
Nah. Like, I'm like on like a different side. Like, people would like some people have Velocicoaster at number one from the full package, from like the theming to the ride experience. Me, I look at it as like, now what if this ride didn't have theming? How would I actually rate this ride? That's how I look at it. Like I rate Velocicoaster on, now what if this ride didn't have this unique theming that and like excellent theming that it has? Now how would the ride experience be then? So that's how I rank coasters based on that. So that's how like Velocicoaster is at the spot it's at, because it's ranked on the ride experience alone without its unique and good theming.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how I would rate a roller coaster as well. Is if you stripped back all the theming, what enjoyment do you get from the ride? Which obviously theming makes um, something look better, but I think there are a lot of rides where the theming is making up for a lack of elements or pleasure from the ride itself. So I think yeah, I'm with you on that one. That if you strip back all the theming, what are you left with? And I know we were having a little conversation just before we went live about Velocicoaster, and you said that you felt it was quite drawn out,
Yeah.
certain aspects. I mean, obviously, I'll let you explain what you meant by that, because I'm sure that a lot of the viewers will be quite fascinated to hear what you mean by that.
Okay, so I know most people in the UK, most people that I talk to in the UK, their bucket list is Velocicoaster. And like I will tell them it's good, but I won't tell them the negatives because I don't want to like, really like make it like lower for them. I want to like make them really hyped for it. Because I know a lot of people in the UK are really, really hyped for Velocicoaster. But what I mean by drawn out is I think some of the elements are kind of like slow, like kind of drawn out to the point where they make you want to get that experience that like is for like a comfortable like experience where they make you want to like just marathon it, just ride it again. And a prime example is the stall after the top hat. Once you hit the top hat, that is a legendary top hat. It is really good. You get great setting and everything. Once you drop off the top hat and enter the stall is not as good, I really would take Smilers and Virgins over Velocicoaster Stall any day. It's like if you blink and then look again, you're out of the stall. It's like over that quick. You go through it so fast that you barely can get the hang time that you really want to experience in a coaster that has hang time. And you don't really get that on the stall at all. Like it's just over so quick and so fast. But the Monster Soul, yeah, that is definitely the best inversion. And I think that is kind of like the takeaway from that ride for me. And what's really pushes it is the Monster Soul. I have never experienced a coaster with ejector airtime just flying upside down. Like I have never experienced that on any coaster. And Velocicoaster was definitely the first one to ever present that to me. And it literally like shocked my mind.
We were, it's funny you mentioned the Smiler, because again, as we were talking before the show,
Yeah.
a couple of enthusiasts I know believe that the Smiler has too many inversions, and that actually it becomes a little bit repetitive. The final 3 inversions, it doesn't really need them. By that point, you've enjoyed the ride, and I mean, I love all 14 inversions. I'm not going to lie. I think partly because I was able to brave them, and once I braved a 14 inversion coaster, I want my money's worth. I want all 14 inversions every time to say I've done it again. But I do understand what they're saying about, those final 3 are a bit repetitive, and that they're probably a bit too much. So I think it's, I suppose, all big coasters, or or the ones certainly with the massive hype, would agree that there's elements that are poor or unnecessary.
Yeah.
Obviously the Smiler has the 14 inversions so that it would break the world record. I've heard that the original plans were only to have 12 inversions, but obviously that wouldn't have made it a world record breaker. So a couple more inversions were added to achieve that record break. But it's I mean, it is a great coaster. It's my number 2. So I do rate Smiler. Would you say the Smiler is on the bucket list then for a lot of American enthusiasts? Obviously, Sam
Yeah.
Coaster Tog is saying, really?
Yeah. A lot of people has On Towers up there as like one of their bucket lists. And I talked to so many people, and their bucket list is either like Smiler is somewhere always up there. It's either Egenica, Smiler, what else? Egenica, Smiler, uh Zadra, or Ride to Happiness, like a lot of those. But Smiler is just so like it's always somewhere up there. But for me, honestly, I would say Smiler is like my number like 6, 5. It's like definitely like bucket list number like 6 or 5. So it's definitely up there for me.
What of the UK coasters then? What would you say is the one that you would most love to do?
That's a hard one.
Put you on the spot a bit there.
Probably Stealth. Probably
Good
Stealth.
man, good choice.
Yeah. I just love launch coasters. It's something about launch coasters, and Stealth is definitely the one. Like I seen Stealth and I'm like, definitely have to do this. And when I go to the UK, I'm definitely marathoning Stealth. Like it's just 100% a marathon that I'm doing.
You're already a legend just for saying that, in my opinion. I mean, I do love Stealth. It's one of the few roller coasters that I've done that still makes me anxious. But I love the fact that it still makes me anxious, because that means it gives me that buzz once I've done it. I come off and I'm still shaking every single time. I'm still shaking. The adrenaline is pumping, and it's one. And I think it's to do with launch coasters. I think they just give me that absolute buzz. And it is nice to hear that you rate Stealth that way, because as I say, for me it was a coaster as well for so long. I thought I would never be able to do, even once I'd started braving bigger faster, etc. roller coasters, because of its sheer height and that launch, I just never ever thought I'd get on it. And you know, once I had done it, it was just like a wow, that's, you know, the ultimate adrenaline rush for me. I know other people don't feel the same way about it, and you know, I think like all these things, isn't it? It's personal opinion. You know, obviously you guys over there think the Smiler is fantastic. It's very divisive over here, the Smiler, because you get those people who absolutely love it and those people who think it's overrated. You know, so it's quite interesting to hear that so many people in America, you know, rate the Smiler so highly. I suppose we take it for granted because it's there. You know, excuse me, we can go and do it anytime, so we do take it for granted. Whereas, you know, we look at American coasters like Iron Gwazi and King Dakar and you know, and those roller coasters, and we go, oh, you know, they're immense, they're much better than anything we've got in the UK, forgetting that we've got a record breaker in the UK that is actually a very good ride. How many of the American parks have you actually visited during your time?
That's another one that's hard. I've been to Darien Lake, Six Flags Darien Lake, Six Flags Great Adventure, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Kings Dominion, Six Flags New England, Universal, Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios Florida, SeaWorld. Let's see. I haven't been to the Disney parks. It's just so much actually that I can't even think. I'm gonna have to say, if I had to guess, probably somewhere around like 20 to 30. I'm gonna have to guess right there. It's somewhere from 20 to 30.
Just hearing you like say all those names, we're all drooling here. We're, you know, you've got so many parks to choose from, with, and each one has something in it that's just absolutely immense. And you know, and in the UK, we've got a couple of main parks, and then a couple of smaller parks that might have something decent in them, but it's not backed up with other rides. Whereas from what I've seen of the American parks, you know, it's not, you know, there'll be one absolutely immense coaster, but there's a lot of other great rides around that as well. I'm guessing that, I think you said, Six Flags Great Adventure is your home park.
Yeah.
And you know, and I was obviously looking at that as well and seeing that, you know, that it's just absolutely phenomenal. That what's just, I say, you know, all these American parks are just absolutely phenomenal. But it's interesting that so many American enthusiasts want to come to the UK to experience our parks. You know, it's almost like I want to say to them all, just prepare yourself for disappointment, because, you know, compared to what you've got, it's you know, we aren't a patch on what you've got there. But I suppose it's different. It's something different, isn't it? And that, I imagine, that would be that's the attraction. Yeah. With regards to Disney, it's interesting that you say you've never done any of the Disney parks. Is that common amongst American enthusiasts? Because obviously Walt Disney World is massive in this country, whether you're a coaster enthusiast or not. It's absolutely massive. Is it as big amongst American enthusiasts, or is it one of those, yeah, we would go and do it, but it's not high up on our list of really want to do's?
I would say Disney parks here are definitely like big. Everybody wants to do Disney parks, and they feature an option that really grabs the guest. Like, I like what Disney does. They really put options that really grab guests' attention. And what they do is they added an addition called Park Hopper. So you have the chance to stay at one Disney park for until like 2 p.m. And then after, you could just go to any Disney park you want, and for the whole day. Like, so say like if I wanted to go to Disney Animal Kingdom at like first part, I have to stay there until 2 o'clock, and then after 2 o'clock, I can go to Epcot, I can go to Hollywood Studios. I can go to like any Disney park. Like in that range, I can go to any Disney park. So I definitely think it's big. And now that they added Cosmic Rewind and they're about to add Tron, that is definitely going to be a big thing for people in Disney. Like people in Disney, the attendance is going to skyrocket for Disney. It already had because of Cosmic Rewind, but once Tron comes out, attendance is skyrocketing.
I find it funny, all this hype around Tron, because I'm old enough, sadly, to remember the original Tron movie. So to hear all this hype now about a Tron themed ride being as popular with obviously enthusiasts young and old, I do sort of chuckle to myself a little bit, because as I say, I remember the original Tron movie, and yeah, it seems like such an age ago now, and yet somehow it's traveled well through time to be reinvented, and as you say, and now everyone's desperately waiting for this Tron ride to open. What is the timeline for that opening? I haven't kept ahead of it, or on top of all those kind of things.
I would probably say 2023. No, actually, they have. They said spring 2023, but knowing everybody always says like a season that they're gonna open it, and then they'll open it like a season late. So I'll probably say they said spring, so I'll probably say expect summertime 2023.
Brilliant. I'm guessing you're going to be one of the first in the queue to get there, to ride that. Obviously, we've got Coaster Chicken here, who's saying that it's already the top of his bucket list, to go and do Tron.
I'll probably say I won't do it, but I know my family probably would. So I'll probably just like ask my family how they think of Tron. But I might I think I'm going actually for the opening of SeaWorld Orlando's new surf coaster. So I guess if Tron and the surf coaster open up like around like the same time period, I probably would go ride the surf coaster while my family go ride Tron, and then I'll just ask them like how they like it, and then I might actually go ride it. But I'm big on like SeaWorld Orlando's new surf coaster, because I think that right there is interesting, because we have never seen B&M do a launch surf coaster ever. Like that is the first time we ever seen B&M do something like that. So that's I'll be like at that the whole time.
Yeah, it's we obviously we heard about the surf coaster over here, and I know it's generated a lot of excitement amongst English enthusiasts, or UK enthusiasts, should I rather say. As you say, it being something that B&M have never done before, it'll be interesting to see how it's executed and whether it lives up to the hype, obviously, that it's getting already. But I suppose it's like all new coasters, isn't it? There's going to be hype. Of course, there's going to be hype. There's going to be people that will love it. There's going to be people that will hate it. It's it's part and parcel of opening new coasters. Obviously, I'm guessing you've heard about the 3 now new coasters opening in the UK over the next sort of 2 years. We're still waiting on the final sign off for Project Exodus at Thorpe Park, but we obviously that's a very exciting project, and we've got the Jumanji Land opening up at Chessington, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Already taking great shape and is due to open in spring 23. And then, of course, Merlin then added to that the Boomerang coaster that's being opened up at Legoland Windsor, which for me personally was quite a surprise, because that's quite a thrill coaster, and Legoland isn't a thrill park by any stretch of the imagination. It's a lovely park. It's a family park. It's beautifully themed, but it's not a thrill park. So obviously opening up a thrilling sort of Boomerang coaster there is quite quite an interesting choice. But yeah, so obviously we've got some. But the problem, I suppose, is that we're not opening up anything innovative, really. In that sense, we're Merlin seem to like to play it safe almost, whereas the American parks seem to be a little bit more innovative and a bit more daring with cutting edge technologies. You know, I mean, you've only got to look at how far behind you guys we are with regards to things like overhead restraints and and lap bar restraints. It's almost standard now from what I've seen for a lot of the newer coasters, but we still struggle with it in the UK. And obviously, going back to this whole Smiler thing, if the Smiler was a lap bar coaster, it would be insane. It would just elevate it to another level. But that will never happen because of, one, Merlin don't seem to particularly like lap bar coasters, and two, obviously, because of its accident, I don't think it would be well received. People would just see it as they're not they're not taking health and safety seriously. They're making this coaster more risky. It's not. You and I both know that that's not the case, but sadly, it's that does seem to be the general opinion. But yeah, it does seem to be exciting times for roller coasters, and I say in the UK as well. We've got those 3 opening. There's rumours flying around about things going on at Alton Towers as well. We've just obviously SICK opened this year, which is again it's an Intamin, but it's another level because it's lap bar as opposed to overhead restraints, which has made a massive difference. So yeah, it does seem to be that we're finally getting some investment in our parks, and I say exciting times. By the time you come over, we could have 10 new coasters all over the UK. It's a dream. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know.
Yeah.
So with regards to obviously your YouTubing, I mean, obviously you said that El Toro, your love affair with El Toro started off, but what made you want to YouTube, for example? It's obviously taking photographs, Instagram, but to go out and be sort of vlogging and then making your top 10s like you do, what sort of inspired that?
I guess it's just the other, I always actually wanted a YouTube channel, but I just didn't know the perfect thing to do it on. I always would tell my mom, I actually want to do a YouTube channel. She was like, go ahead, do it. And I would always be like, I just don't know what to do it on. I just don't know what to base it on. And then that's when I finally was after I made my Instagram, I'm like, this is actually what I want to do with my YouTube. So I actually I would say what started my YouTube was actually Jersey Devil, our newest RMC. When it first came out, it was so popular and everybody was just talking about it. So what started it off was actually me doing a review of my experience on Jersey Devil for one of the first riders, because I went on preview day. So I was actually one of the first people to ride it. I was I wouldn't say I was one of the first, but I was almost the first. But yeah, so I was I actually think I might start off my YouTube channel with explaining how I like Jersey Devil and what expectations people should go in when going to ride Jersey Devil. And obviously other content creators, and a big one, I like every single content creator. Every content creator is great. I would say the one content creator that actually got me into doing YouTube was Collywood Studios. Colin, great friend. He his dedication is something about Colin. His dedication was I was this man Colin's actually really dedicated. And I was like, I actually want to do the same thing. And we both go to the same home park, and it's like, I kind of actually want to do the same thing, but just make a twist with it. Just actually like do like other videos and like reviews and stuff. So I actually got the inspiration from Colin, thanks to Colin. And Colin actually helped me out like with like ideas of like what I should do, like what type of videos I should do here and there. He's like, "Oh, Jamair, you should do this video. I think you should do this video. Oh, this video would be cool." So like, I really am thankful for Colin for that. And yeah, Colin is definitely one that really, really got me into YouTube.
Yeah, it's always great to have a mentor like that, isn't it? That I think we could all probably name a person. For me, I know they're going to hate me saying this, but my inspiration came from a UK-based channel called the Coaster Capturers. You may well have heard of them.
Yeah.
They will tell you that their Scarefest vlog from October last year is the cringiest video they've ever made, and they probably hate it right now. But I remember watching that video and seeing that and thinking, I want to be like them. And that, and from then that's when the seed was planted for me of, I can do this. And and if I'm half as good as them, they'll tell you that that video isn't great. I disagree. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Was riveted from opening to end. Absolutely loved it. And it was my inspiration. And obviously I'm good friends now with the Coaster Capturers, Jess and Dale. And I've actually met them in real life, which is brilliant. And and yeah, so that they are the inspiration. They were the inspiration for me. And I'd love to be able to be as naturally funny as they are. I try. Sometimes I succeed, but not always. But yeah, having that mentor is certainly a great thing, isn't it? What are your plans for your YouTube channel? I mean, obviously your reviews are excellent. I've watched a number of them. They're detailed but still captivating, interesting. You know, is that what you're going to continue doing, or do you see, is there an evolution plan that you have? I mean,
I think I might do like a mix, like how like I always do. I'll do like a mixture of like like I don't want to do a mixture of series because then it would throw people off. But I might like throw in some series here and there. Definitely big on POVs. So I might throw in some POVs here and then reviews. Like if I like a lot of people text me on Instagram about doing reviews. So I might start doing a lot more reviews. I have, which is great. And yeah, I might actually start doing more reviews, but in the future, I might start doing a mixture and more vlogs because I only have 2 vlogs and people actually like seeing vlogs. I thought my vlogs are like weird. It's not like your typical vlogs. It's like I like you said, the Costa Captures, they think their vlog was cringy. I think my vlogs are cringy. I don't know. I just think they're cringy. So that's why I don't do them. But people are like, oh, don't even care about that. Just do vlogs. So I'm definitely gonna start doing more vlogs.
yeah, I mean, I look back at my early vlogs and cringe, and well, to be fair, I look back at my recent vlogs and cringe as well. But but it is just that just turning that camera on and just doing it,
Yeah.
and what will be will be. And some people, I'm sure, enjoy watching my vlogs because they watch them. So that's commendation. But yeah, it's as I say, I don't particularly like watching my vlogs back. And I know James, the Coastal Chicken, is the same. I do watch them back to try to make sure that there's no errors. But they don't, that doesn't always work out, and clips end up in the wrong order, as happened in my recent vlog when I started talking about one particular ride and then included some footage of a completely different ride that I'd done
Yeah, I did
about
that.
2 rides previously, which but I left that in. I didn't re-edit it because I thought, you know what, that's a comedy element, and that makes it
Yeah.
wholesome, I suppose, if you like. I think it's you've got a great personality, which I thought you had anyway, and obviously having spoken to you now and and seen some of your videos, as far as POVs are concerned and reviews, I mean, for people like me as an anxious rider, they are invaluable. They are truly invaluable to me, because that's my way of dealing with new rides, is literally to watch the POVs, watch review videos, and that prepares me. And then I feel like I'm able to go and do it because I know what's coming, and I've had that detailed review. So I definitely think keep going with that, because as I said, I was just your top 10 that I was watching this morning as a latest one.
Oh yeah.
I was, I just thought this is brilliant. The description is brilliant. The footage itself was brilliant, and it all fitted in beautifully. And yeah, so just go for it with the vlogs. It's literally just a go for it and just capture what happens is my advice. A lot of people film a vlog, and they have a plan of what they want that vlog to be. And I used to be one of those people, and it became such hard work and such a chore trying to do that. And in the end, again, the Coaster Capturers, Dale said to me, just be you. Just be you,
Yeah.
be natural, film what happens. Don't try and film stuff that hasn't happened, or that, or and things like that. And actually, since I've done that and listened to him, then great, it's made a whole difference, and vlogging has become so much better and so much more fun, and I've enjoyed it so much more. So my advice is just do it. Just film what happens, and don't overthink it, because yeah, just as Dave has just said here, he makes it up as he goes along. I think most of us do now, because we've learned that that's the best way to do it, is just to make it up as you go along. And personality is definitely, as James here says, personality is the winner. We now have an opportunity for the people watching to ask you questions. As I assured you before this show, they are very friendly. They won't ask you anything too horrible, I promise you. So does anybody have any questions for Jamair? I know full well the Coaster Capturers are going to ask what your favorite movie is. So I'll preempt that one.
Yeah. That one's kind of easy. I have like 3 favorites, but it's so hard to choose from them.
What are your 3 favorite movies?
So it's like such a weird order, but one is actually Insidious. I don't know why, I just like Insidious so much, and it's just so weird. I just watched Insidious like over and over and over. I literally just watched Insidious like I'll say the other day. And second is probably I'll say either it or Annabelle, those 2. And then 3 is like Matilda. 3 is Matilda.
Wow, what a contrast between your number 1 and your number 3.
Yeah, that's so weird.
That's just completely blown my mind to think that in the same bracket you've got Insidious and Matilda.
Yeah.
I must admit, I wasn't a fan of Insidious, but I think the problem was that when I watched it, I went to the cinema to watch it, and they had the speakers turned up so loud.
Oh yeah.
That it just became actually unpleasant, and it just ruined the film for me. And I haven't gone back and rewatched it because it's left that impression for me now. Yeah. And I haven't watched any of the sequels because, I'm not a massive horror fan. I'm not going to lie. I like the original Poltergeist movies. That's my cup of tea. But I say that's fascinating that you have Matilda and Insidious in that group, and It and Annabelle, of course. That's interesting. Sam Coaster Talk would like to know. Obviously, you did Jersey Devil on its opening, and and that obviously sparked off your YouTubing in that respect. But what do you actually think of Jersey Devil? Is it a good coaster?
I would say Jersey Devil is actually underrated. People, okay, I would say Jersey Devil was underrated from the start. People gave it too much hate because it wasn't as fast as people thought it would be. And it wasn't as fast as like the prototype Raptors like Wonder Woman, Lasso of Truth, and Railblazer, those two. People like thought it was going to be as fast and intense as those, but it didn't turn out to be that way. And but I think the way it runs and the way it plays out its layout, I think is pretty good. Like just hitting that drop back row is probably one of the most underrated first drops I have ever experienced. That first drop it's just insane. And the way it starts off, it's just insane. The dive loop and then into the stall, like all of that, the way it just plays out its layout is really good. I think the thing with it is it just ends a little bit too quick. I would say that. It ends a little bit too quick. And the way now, how it's running fast now, because before when I first wrote it, it was running actually slow. Like it wasn't as fast. Like you would actually get as much, like a lot of hang time because it ran so slow that it felt like you were riding it in the cold, but you were actually riding it in the summertime. So it was just weird. But now that it runs fast, it actually ends a little bit too quick. And I think that's what the problem with Jersey Devil is that people want it to have more airtime, but it just doesn't deliver that. I like the way Jersey Devil is. It's not an airtime filled ride. It's more of like I'm going to get on and I'm going to enjoy this. It has great inversions that you can enjoy. Not really airtime filled. It just has a lot of snappy transitions. So that's what I like. That's what I like about Jersey Devil. Its snappy transitions is really good. But I think it's really underrated and people give it too much hate because they want to compare it to Wonder Woman and Railblazer, but you can't compare those two because the prototypes are actually shorter, but they run a lot faster. Jersey Devil's a little bit longer, but it used to run slow, but now it runs fast, but it doesn't run as fast as like the prototype. So I think that's what the problem is with Jersey Devil. They try to compare it to Wonder Woman and Railblazer, but you can't really do that. Well, you can, but I think that's what the problem is with Jersey Devil. But I think it's underrated. I say everybody definitely should give it a shot and definitely go in with your own expression. And if anybody tells you, oh, yeah, Jersey Devil sucks, this and that, it's not really good like Wonder Woman or Railblazer. Don't listen to them. Just go in with your own expression, go in with your own thoughts, go in with your own head, and just write it for yourself and have your own opinion.
I think that's fair. I think that's good advice for any roller coaster, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
Make your own opinion. Go in with an open mind. Make your own opinion. James is asking, do you follow NBA? I'm guessing you do because you played basketball.
Yeah.
You play basketball, and who do you support?
Oh, my favorite team is the Mavericks. I like the Mavericks since I started playing basketball. I like the Mavericks ever since. Dirk Nowitzki made me want to play basketball so bad. And I was like, I'm actually going to play basketball. Played basketball, and I just watch NBA now. And I just been following the Mavericks since.
Fair enough. Dave from Dave's Adventures would like to know, what's your favorite coaster at Luna Park, which I'm guessing is your other sort of home park, isn't it?
Yeah. That's actually a hard one because both are so good. Thunderbolt and Coney Island Cyclone. Those two are so good. But I'm going to have to give the upper hand to Thunderbolt because it's more of like my type of ride. It's more intense. Not saying Cyclone isn't good. But Thunderbolt is like my type of ride. It's more intense. It's more airtime filled. And it has the snappy transitions that you won't expect at all. So I'll definitely say Thunderbolt.
Fair enough. What's the worst park you've been to?
Honestly, I'm not going to say I haven't been to any bad park. I think every park is good in their own ways because not every park is perfect. But I haven't been to a bad park. People would probably say on my list Luna Park and Dino's, but I think they're pretty good for what they are for like a family themed park. Even having some intense rides for like the teens, they really play family themed and teenager themed well. So people would probably say Luna Park and Dino's, but I think they're a really good park for what they do. I haven't had a bad park, but I'll say my worst experience is probably Hershey Park. That Hershey Park is probably the most frustrating park to ever go to because it's always packed. There's never a day you go that it's not packed. And the day I actually went, it was really, really packed. So it was frustrating. It was my first time, and I had to spend $150 on a fast track, a limited to actually get on everything, which I'm still blessed I was able to do, get on everything. But still, like, it was kind of frustrating and it was kind of annoying, but still managed to get everything. But yeah, I'll say my worst experience is Hershey Park, but I haven't been to a bad park.
Dave would like to know if you could vlog a coaster marathon, or would you vlog a coaster marathon? And if you could vlog any coaster marathon, which coaster would you choose?
I actually kind of already did that. I actually did Green Lantern. It's so weird. People think I'm actually weird because I actually did it Labor Day. I actually vlogged marathon in Green Lantern. I don't even want to spoil the ride count that I did, but it was insane and people thought I was weird for that. But I thought it was pretty interesting. But I actually already did that. I did Green Lantern. But if I had to do another coaster, it probably would be El Toro, hands down. And that is just one marathon that I would just vlog because I'm so wholesome to the ride. So like it's just like my personality when it comes to that ride is so different, and I feel like it would be interesting to see me actually marathon that ride and see everything that goes behind the scene of me actually marathon a ride. I think it would be interesting.
I did think you might choose El Toro.
Yeah.
What's the best East Coast park? Bit of an interrogation here.
That's a hard one. East Coast. Ah man, there's so many good ones though. Dang, there's so many good ones. I'm not gonna lie, I gotta go with my home park, Great Adventure. I gotta go with it. We just have such a unique collection that I think it really grabs guests' attention. Like we have a Zamperla dang, I can't even remember the model. That's how I don't even Wonder Woman. We all know Wonder Woman, the flat ride at our park. Nitro. Everybody loves Nitro. That absolutely gets a long line every single time at the park on busy days. We have Jersey Devil. Absolutely underrated ride. We have a lot of kids coasters that bring kids attention to. We have El Toro, most people's favorite wooden coaster, and one of the most intense coasters out there that everybody wants to try at least once, King the Con. So I think our collection is so well rounded and so like unique that guests really want to come to the park, and that's why I really like Great Adventures ride collection. They're really good for like the summertime, and it's really unique, and it's really good that any ride in the park you can ride with, just like any ride, any coaster in that park you can marathon. That's what I'll say. And Green Lantern and Superman. Like you can marathon any coaster in that park, and it's just so unique of how many models they have and the switch between the intensity, non-intense, balanced. It's just amazing with that ride collection.
I'm sold. I want to go. Yeah, it does sound amazing actually. That's quite a collection, isn't it? Sam Coaster Tog would like to know, what's your bucket list park and coaster? If you had to choose one park and one coaster, they don't necessarily have to be at the same place. So you could have a bucket list park, but that your bucket list coaster isn't at that park. because I
Oh,
appreciate that that can be the case.
yeah, that's so hard. I'm not gonna lie. There's already three in my mind that I can say. That's so hard. Uh, it's probably gonna have to be Ride to Happiness, Popsland. It has to, yeah, it has to be Ride to Happiness. That ride right there is just one of the most unique things I have ever saw in my life. And even though it has a launch too, and I'm into launch coasters, so that's definitely a ride for me. But that is my pick. But I'll say the other two is probably Silver Dollar City with Time Traveler, or Fuji Q Highland with Egenica.
Sounds like good, solid choices. It's interesting that you mentioned Ride to Happiness, because amongst myself and my group of friends, Ride to Happiness is like the ultimate,
Yeah,
and we're hoping to get over to Plopsaland. One of the group, I think, has done it before, and the rest of us are just all like, yeah, it just looks beautiful. It's, I love a spinning coaster, so it's got that element, and yeah, it does just look so. Yeah, we're with you on that one. Ride to Happiness is definitely up there with those bucket list coasters for us too. It's Here's a nice easy one for you. With Halloween coming, what's your favorite candy?
ooh, Hershey. Actually, no.
Hershey.
Actually, Snickers. There you go. That's my favorite. Like, always loved Snickers as a kid, so that is my favorite Halloween candy.
I must admit, I grew up with Snickers, absolutely loved it. I even remember when it had a different name in the UK. It used to be called Marathon, and I've loved it forever. It's one of my favorites. So, but again, it's quite interesting that you choose that. But I know it's massive in America, isn't it? Snickers, the
Yeah.
Mars group is massive. But yeah, I do love a Snickers. I'm not going to lie. It's a very good choice there. I'm just trying to go through and see if there's any other questions. Um, Sam's just commented that my wife is Karen, and that she needs to pack up the wagon because we're going to Great Adventure. So, oh, Zuda Loopers have joined us.
What's going on, Zooters?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to be talking to them actually about them coming on to do a show as well at some point, because it'd be very nice to talk to them as well. As I say, just to get more feeling for American parks. It's and I find it fascinating. Enthusiasts from all over the world. I'm trying to find enthusiasts from other countries as well to bring onto the show, because I'd love to hear about all the different countries that have parks. Because it's obviously, it's not just America and the UK that has the big enthusiasts. I'm sure there are other countries. So if people know of other accounts, especially YouTube channels for other parks, European or worldwide, then please shoot them over, because I'd love to have a chat with them. I'd absolutely love it. I want to talk to as many different people as possible. That would be absolutely amazing. I think. Oh, I'm just trying to see if there's any other questions. There's a lot of comments. I've been a bit. Reese's is a popular choice amongst
Yeah.
amongst the viewers here. My daughter, actually, my teenage daughter, absolutely loves Reese's. She's got a real obsession with Reese's at the moment. But it costs an absolute fortune here. You generally have to go to specialist sweet shops to get them, and yeah, it can be quite expensive. Hershey as well is another one that
Yeah.
again, quite expensive. But but yeah, well, I think we've got to the end of all the questions. Thank you very much for joining me this evening.
No problem.
It has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, face to face as we could have. But it's obviously we've spoken via messaging on Instagram so many times, and it's been, as I say, absolutely lovely to finally get to talk to you almost face to face, shall we say, as face to face as we can, when there's a great puddle of water in between us. But yeah, and it's fascinating to hear about American parks, and you know, I'd love to hear. I'm sure there's, you know, there's more. There's so much more that we'd all love to know about. So it may well be that I'll get you back on for another chat at another point, because you know, it is fascinating. And as I say, I enjoy watching your reviews of roller coasters. I find them very enjoyable and very watchable. As I'm sure many of the viewers tonight will also, because I've already seen that 2 or 3 people have already said that they've literally just been over and subscribed to your channel. So they'll be watching your videos and your reviews and your top 10s as soon as they get a spare moment, I'm sure. Do you want to shout out your socials while you're here? I will also be adding them to the description for the video as well. Links to your YouTube channel and your Instagram account.
I mean, if you guys want, you know, I'm not the one to, like, you know, one of those people that annoy people and be like, oh, go find. If you guys want, I'm on YouTube, Intense Thrills. I'm on Instagram, as you guys know, NJ Intense Thrills. You guys can follow me on TikTok too if you have TikTok, NJ Intense Thrills. And I also have Twitter too that I barely post on, but I might start posting on it. At Intense Thrills. I might change the username though to NJ Intense Thrills. But yeah, that you guys can go follow those if you guys want. Like I said, I'm not one of the ones that would like annoy people to be, oh, go follow this. That is, you know, something you guys can, and those are my socials.
Brilliant, and that's very humble of you, because obviously most people are you know, or a lot of people, not most, that's a sweeping generalization there, but a lot of people would be very much you know, oh, please follow, please do that. But yeah, you've never come across to me that way, and actually are probably more in favor of supporting other people than other people supporting you, which, you know, is one of the reasons why I did want to get you on as well and have a chat and everything else. But as I say, I will include links to all your socials in the description for the video, so that people who want to find you, follow you, subscribe to you can do that easily. As I said, thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon, at least via Instagram. Possibly again for another chat at another time. So yeah, I'm going to take you out of the live stream now and run the closing credits. So I say thank you so much for coming on. It has been a pleasure. Take care of yourself.
Too.
And I'll speak to you very soon. See you later.
Bye, everybody. Stream.
Well, there we go. Jamair, fantastic. Loved talking to him, obviously, about the American parks there. Next week, I have got actually another American account. Next week's show will be going out at, I've just got to work out the time difference. It will be 4 p.m. UK time on Sunday. The reason for that being is that the guests next week are Longhorn Coasters. That's Dylan and Peyton from Longhorn Coasters. They're coming in to talk all things Halloween stateside, and to compare and contrast what we do in the UK for Halloween compared to what's done in the States with regards to Halloween. So I did move the show because of the timings and work for them, which, you know, obviously, but I'm very keen to get them on. I'm absolutely loving their content. I love speaking to them. They're some of the loveliest people. So that's next week, next Sunday at 4 p.m. UK time, or it will be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to have to do that as well, aren't I, for our American followers? So that's yeah. So they're coming in, as I say, to talk all about American Halloween and how it compares. So please join me next week. Thank you so much for watching this evening, I hope it's been as enjoyable for you as it has been for me. And as always, it's lovely having these people on to talk and to chat. And I learned so much about coasters as we go along. I started off from not knowing anything, and yeah, I am having a real education from talking to all these people, and I love it. I love talking to people. So on that note, I will say good night for now. And as I said, hopefully see you next Sunday for Longhorn Coasters. But until then, it's goodbye from me.